Hey guys, welcome back to RHR Jen. I'm so glad you're here. Honk honk flockers. Thanks for being here. Guys, today I have a treat for you. We're going to be taking a look at this article that came out from St. Meghan Markle, and it's all about Meghan and the paparazzi. Again, if you're new here, I'm Jen. Make sure you've hit the subscribe button. I'm trying to drive to 200,000. It really does help me out. I'm here on the live chat. Hi, live chat. Thank you so much for being here. All right, let's get into this. So yeah, this came up on St. Meghan Markle, and it was shared by, excuse me, goodness, one more time. Okay. This was shared by user Winfot, and it says, stating the obvious, Meghan Markle sought control over paparazzi images after U.S. move, but interest quickly faded. Now they aren't worth the hassle, according to the New York Post. And again, thank you, Squeegee, for making sure that I saw this as well. So here's the article itself, and it's from the New York Post, and it says, Meghan Markle sought control over the paparazzi images after U.S. move, but interest quickly faded. Now they aren't worth the hassle. And this person writes, it's bad when the paps are admitting the photo opportunities are staged and no longer want to follow the tacky twosome. I like that name for them, tacky twosome. Here's a line for the paparazzi that sums it all up. In the US, and in my experience, it has died down a lot. Now they aren't worth the hassle, and the payday isn't the same. People don't care as much as they used to, the pap said. P.S. Faux guest speaker is back, and it's hilarious as ever. So the article itself is this New York Post one that says Meghan Markle sought control over the paparazzi images after U.S. move, but interest quickly faded. Now they aren't worth the hassle. So I thought we could take a look at the article first, but then more fun, we'll look at the snark from St. Meghan Markle in regards to this. But it says Meghan Markle initially sought full control of paparazzi images of herself and that one that were released, to the media following their transatlantic move to the U.S. A veteran photographer has claimed California paparazzo Mark whoever, who has said to have been in business for 17 years. I don't want to read all this. I'm just skimming it. That's why I said it like that. It's Mark Karloff. I'm not trying to disrespect him. I just don't want to read all this crap. When Harry and Meghan first came here, it was all a mad scramble to find where they were staying, where they were going to be living, and oops, clicked the wrong thing. And it was every photographer in LA trying to find out every secret, Karloff said. At the same time, they were running around doing mock photo ops. They were doing setups. They would pop up, be doing some charity work, and I think it was their photographers. So everyone was very frustrated. Karloff, who hosts the Paparazzi podcast, said the initial period after those two hightailed it across the pond and set up camp in the U.S. came with an intense pursuit by photographers eager to uncover their new life in California. So all I can laugh and think about is, remember the Netflix show, Set That Pap on the Scooter Again? Remember, Meghan was like, in my opinion, like gaslighting Harry, trying to like make him a little crazy. He was like, where? It's just like some kind of bike or something. I've shot them at a couple events. 1 second. When they first arrived and I decided it was too much for me, the craziness of that kind of photo, I stay away because it's not exclusive and they don't make as much money, the Season's Never told Tech Report. But Karloff noted public interest in the couple has significantly decreased in the recent years, resulting in reduced demand for the photographs. In the US, and in my experience, it has died down a lot. Now they aren't worth the hassle and the payday isn't the same. People don't care as much as they used to, the pap said. Ultimately, they can't hide forever, so there are opportunities to get them, but I think they want control, Meghan, especially nowadays photographers wait for an opportunity to get them instead of actively trying to get them. Additionally, the insider told the Post that the couple who tied the knot in 2018 engaged in stage photo ops in Los Angeles and the surrounding area, often with their own photographer present. Okay, so you get the gist of the article. I think that's really funny. I think I just keep thinking so many things about this. Okay, so the interest is no longer there. Meghan oversaturated herself, in my opinion. Yeah, plates will be smashing. Exactly. I think Meghan's oversaturated herself. And I think Like, they've just played this all wrong. It was theirs to mess up, and they've completely messed this up. There was interest there, and now there's not anymore because she just had to go out every 2 days and do a paparazzi walk. It was so bizarre. That was such a weird time. There's always weird time periods with them, and they go through these cycles, and for a while, it was Meghan would go to a parking lot, usually without Hasnoball. Sometimes he was there, but mostly without him, and have the photos made. Isn't that ridiculous? Like, remember she was in the black yoga pants and like marching in the parking lot. The craziest one to me is the one I just said, before we hit record was the one in the brown wool coat where she had the stickers all over her arm and she was marching the stickers. I just think that's so silly. Yeah, and Spicy has such a good point that says people just keep confirming what we've known for years. Meghan's drying up. Exactly that. But also, I think she's oversaturated herself. Had she played this the right way and I'm not pro Meghan by any means, but I'm saying like anybody, if she had played this the right way and not put out so many photos of herself, yeah, there might be more of a demand for it. Even, like her, don't like her, whatever. People still want to see what crazy things she's going to wear, what crazy things she's going to do, but she's just out there doing crazy stuff. I do agree with that comment. Carte Blanche is pointing out that Uvalde was the worst. You're right. It was. That is disgusting. That's a different level of awful. That's like monster territory. I agree. Horrible stuff. Oh, I agree with you. There's been a couple. Yeah, that's one of the worst. All of a sudden they've flown out of my head. But we said Uvalde. I know what it was. I was like, I know there's one recently where I said this might be even as bad as that. And that was trampling on the fire stuff and finding out that they allegedly had volunteers, stop volunteering to help people in the fires, the terrible the wildfires in California, so they could get some photo ops. That's terrible. Awful. I get in these word habits, so I have to keep a list near me. So let me try this again. That is ghastly, horrendous, abhorrent, hideous, atrocious behavior. It really is. It really is. She's flooding her image. That's it. So let's go into some snark, shall we? Because that's where I live. I love that. Let's go into some snark and take a look at what people are saying about this. Here we go. Nope, it's not that one. Hold on. Where did I put that thing? Oh, it's this one. Okay. All right. So again, okay, so we read that, and then here we go. So former Albatross says, I love this for her, LOL. ETA on, ETA, oh man, this guy is really spilling the tea. Just as an old geezer said, dishes flying in 3, 2, 1. That's right. Oh goodness, that's really funny. Karma is real. LA girl said, LA girl looking says hallelujah. All right, and then there's Cold Computer says people don't care as much as they used to. She's also an extremely boring and unkempt dresser in comparison to A and B listers who constantly get papped on the street or at important events. Meghan is never invited to. Exactly that. So another thing I was saying offline that I want to get into is, and I'll keep reading these comments, but she went through a time, remember, where that was her thing. Every weekend she was calling the paparazzi. She'd be walking around in the parking lots. It was so bizarre. And then she started going to events and calling the paparazzi. In my opinion, I have to say allegedly, Backgrid happened to be called and know exactly where they were and able to get photos. It happened at the Katy Perry concert. It happened, I believe it was, no, it wasn't Katy Perry. It was Katy Perry. Celine Dion, is that another one? No, they were waiting to talk to Celine Dion. That's what it is. Sorry, that's why I was getting confused. It was a Katy Perry concert. They were in line to talk to Celine Dion, and I started laughing, thinking, if Prince William and Princess Catherine were there, there'd be a line around them. I'm not saying that against Celine. I'm saying they wouldn't have to wait and line to talk to Celine. Celine would walk up and they would talk to each other. So that's just funny to me. I'm petty. But they did. They would go to all these events. And then remember they went and did the sporting event too, where they rented out the box and they were there and the kiss cam and all that. That was so bizarre. And then the Beyonce concert. And yeah, so she goes in cycles where she picks where she wants to have her photo made. So we'll see. We'll see what the next one is. I don't know. She's back on Instagram and she has her entire show. She doesn't need the paps anymore. Oh, contraire, Mom Frere, she does. I get what you're saying, and I agree with you, Squeegee. But I think she's still gonna call Backgrid to the damn red carpet when it's time for this gala next week, or she'll be photographed around. Oh God, I just remember. Do you remember when she was photographed at In-N-Out for Invictus? She just happened to be in the drive-through, and they just happened to have the perfect photograph through the drive-through window of her picking up milkshakes for the kids. Such BS. It's so stupid. Yes, that restaurant entrance. That's right, with Cameron Diaz. So that's a funny thing too, because I believe that was the rumor. But what I think is Cameron Diaz had maybe either been there at that time or previously been there, and she was trying to link her name with Cameron Diaz. So I think so as well. Yeah, it's all BS. I just think it's funny the cycles that they go in. Let's see. Of course, a photo is worth nothing. They're not of note. Who will they blame for this? That comment made me laugh because I thought the same thing. Like, who will they blame for this? William and Catherine? People are interested in royalty, not mystery. Sorry. Let me try that again. People are interested in royalty and mystery, not oversharing and influencing. How else is everyone going to know that Madame is a young mother and littles are little? Exactly. Now, if you don't know about that, I know you do, but in case you don't, that was the one. Oh, that was one of my favorite of the events she went to when she wore that beige outfit that didn't fit right. And it was crazy. And she was pulled off the red carpet by her assistant and she was mad. And, my children are little because they're little. Whatever she said like that, I was like, what? What? What do you I say some crazy stuff, but what is she saying? She can't answer a basic question about her kids. Do you remember Prince Harry did the same thing? They asked him a pointed question about his kids. It was when he was in Canada, not this last Invictus, but remember a year ago when they were promoting the Invictus, thereabouts. Maybe it wasn't a year ago, but about there. He was interviewed by somebody and they asked him a basic question about the kids, and all he could say is something like, yeah, they've got good personalities. And I said at the time, I was like, that's like a bad date. If you go on a bad date with somebody where you're just not into them and you're just like, and a friend set you up, you don't want to say, I'm not really into them. You would just say, yeah, they had a good personality. Okay. That doesn't tell you much, right? Like if you ask me about my Gosling, I can rattle off a list of 50 things in 2 seconds that is great about that kid because I'm with her all the time and I know everything about that kid, it's what you do as a mother, right? That's our other favorite thing to say, as a mother. So as a mother, I know about my child. They can't answer basic questions about them. I'd be curious if they could pick those kids out of a lineup. That's a different story altogether. I'd be curious if she could pick him out of a lineup at this point, honestly. So then Khaleesi says, when even the paps are saying, spare me. I love this picture of William and Catherine from a Zoom call. I believe that was during the pandemic when they were doing Zoom calls. I think that's really cool. Catherine's photo outing sighting was worth over $200,000 during the bull fiasco. Let that sink in, Meghan. I bet people aren't paying $200,000 for Meghan's photo. Just saying. Oh, goodness gracious. That's it for those comments. I think, let me see if there's more. Oh, yeah, I do have a little bit. No, that's something else. Okay. I have a bunch of miscellaneous things to get into, but I want to make sure we talked about that. I think that's really funny about the paparazzi. And again, who's to blame on this? Themselves. That's what they do. They, I know Geezer says, yeah, I'm buying a camera. Definitely do that. I want to go get photos of Catherine. Oh, speaking of, shout out to Ian. If Ian's still here, Ian Kirkpatrick sent me a lovely video of Catherine. He's so nice. He always makes sure I see the videos of Catherine because I love Catherine. And I did see it. And I thank you, Ian, so much for sending that. That meant so much to me. Yeah, I'm going to go buy a camera too. That's right. Well, I'll go. But, I just want to hang out with Catherine and pet her hair. I love her. Anyway, I find it funny because they've done it to themselves. I think not only have they oversaturated themselves, they're just so unlikable. Everything they do is just so completely unlikable. People just aren't interested. We watch for the train wreck of it all, but they're not in on the jokes. They don't get that. So I don't know. The whole thing's funny to me. I wonder how Meghan, this is what I'd like to know. How does Meghan justify this to herself? That her price would have dropped. She's never going to admit that it's her own fault and that she's very unlikable. How does she justify that to herself and say what? I guess saying people are the Eastwards. I guess that's it. I don't know. I just wonder, yeah, how do you explain that away? I don't know. Oh, I like it. Jen Ewan. You know what's funny is I just saw the Ewan. I thought it said urine. I don't want to be Jen Urine, but I like genuine. Thank you. That's good. All right, let's see. They wanted to escape the UK for privacy. Now look at them. Exactly. They've done it to themselves. It's crazy. Near catastrophic car chase. Oh, God. Yeah. Okay, that's a good point, too. So we just came on the heels of that dumb New York stunt. Again, they always do these stunts in New York. So this dumb New York stunt, once again, Meghan is clueless and doing things like that and then saying, "Oh, privacy," hoping for the photo op. You just can't make stuff like this up. You really can't. And then wondering why people don't want to get photos of her anymore. Because you took 8 cars to a freaking gypsy show on Broadway. It's ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. Okay.